Hey, welcome back to the Quick Speed Shop. It's 2023. I'm actually filming this on January 1st. It's probably a week or two into January for you guys by now, but first video of the year. I'm starting off with a fail. I'm going to show you what I'm talking about it right now. Not very happy. All right, bam, here we go. So here it is, my Dodge truck chassis. Here's a whole pile of Dodge stuff. All this junk should be going on this frame. It's not going to, and I'm going to show you why. Now, if you watched the series here, I had this frame. It was rusty. I had it sandblasted at an awesome place up in town, Miller Sandblasting in Rochester, New York. They sandblasted for me, did a great job. And since it was wintertime, I didn't want the thing to flash rust. I brought it home, and I used Eastwood Fast Etch, which is acid-based rust remover, but it's also, and metal prep, it says. It provides a zinc phosphate coating for adhesion and prevents rust. So I used the Fast Etch. I've never used this stuff before, but I've used other phosphate coatings on bare metal, like sandblasted stuff. Used to be from DuPont and stuff you could use. But anyways, I've used it before. I thought this stuff was the same thing. I read the directions-ish. I screwed up. Apparently I screwed up because I'll show you what it's doing. So anyways, I applied this. I rubbed it on wet, like they said, for like half an hour. And then I guess my mistake is I let it dry and I didn't wipe it off with acetone or like their whatever that is. And I thought it was fine because it made the zinc phosphate coating. You can go back and watch the videos. The frame was all coated white, nice. And then I like scuffed it with Scotch-Brite and I put the Eastwood Rust Encapsulator. I brushed 2 coats of that on and did a video on that, coating the frame. And then I actually hit it with Rust-Oleum flat black on top of that because I'm going to be using fluid film on here, and fluid film really eats into the flat black paint and really gives it something to hang on to. So I did all that. Everything was fine. The frame sat for a couple of weeks. I rolled it outside 2 days ago because I was in here tearing the brown truck apart, and it sat out in the rain. Nothing fancy, just rain on brand new paint. And I'll show you what happened. This happened. You see that? I'll try to light this. See all them green spots? That's the Fast Etch coming through. If we look down the frame, see like there's a bubble. If I go like that, that's a bubble of Fast Etch. Look here, look at all these bubbles appearing. Bubbles, bubbles, bubbles. Down through the side of the frame, bubbles, 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 bubbles. Around the edges here, look at all these bubbles here. That is Fast Etch, or the phosphates or something coming through. There's a ton of bubbles in here where it was pitted, but it's bubbling really bad there. Down the side of the frame, bubble, bubble, bubble. Tons of bubbles in there. On the cross member, bubbling coming through, bubbling. On top of the cross member, here, bubbles I popped. There's the phosphate coating there. Bubbling all down here. Let's see, bubbles, bubbles, bubbles. Actually bleeding through there. You can see the phosphate bleeding through. Tons of bubbles and bleed through here. Bleeding bubbles, 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 bubbles. So apparently I must have screwed this up, and if it's this, I don't know. I've seen like Iron Trap Garage, I've seen him use this stuff on his frames. It seems like apparently you need to use acetone or their to like neutralize this stuff afterwards. If it was that important, it seems like it would say it in big freaking letters across the thing, like you must take this and dilute it or whatever, because I don't know. This thing sat for weeks and it was fine, and then I put out in the rain for 2 days and it destroyed it. So here's the problem. I got to take this thing all back apart, take it back to the sandblaster, have them re-sandblast it to get all this coating, all the paint off and all the zinc coating off, or the Fast Etch back down to bare metal, and then I'm going to have them epoxy primer it and paint it. It cost me $500 to have this frame sandblasted originally when it was rusty. And then the reason I didn't have them paint it the first time was I had some metal work to do on it, so I wanted to do that, and I was going to paint it with the Eastwood Rust Encapsulator, which I did. But now, it's not going to take as long to blast it because it's not rusty. But, I mean, it's going to be time, and then the primer and the paint. It's probably going to cost me, I don't know, I'm taking it there tomorrow. It's probably going to be another $600 or $700 to have this blasted and painted. I can't leave it like this because it's going to continue to bubble. The paint's going to come off. It's going to rust. I've paid a lot of money in the first place to have this blasted. If I just wanted to paint over the rust and let it turn to junk, I just would have left it like it was. I wanted to blast it and then put the metal prep and stuff on it. My mistake was using that. I guess they have after blast stuff that's similar, but it's probably got half the same crap in it. I don't know. I mean, I guess it's my fault. I'm not trashing Eastwood here, but if the stuff is that volatile where, you know, so say you use the acetone or the pre or whatever and you washed it down and you took the time to clean it off, would you be able to get all the residue off? I don't know. Like if I sprayed it down with acetone, it's got to be a lot of acetone to get this thing wiped down, I guess, and then wipe it off. How would you know you wouldn't leave residue and it would ruin your paint later anyways? Like all the people I've seen use this stuff, nobody makes a big deal about, oh, you got to get it super clean or get it off or what it is. And this is all Eastwood component, all Eastwood stuff I used on here. Bare metal, you know, sandblasted bare metal. You can go back and watch the videos. Bare metal, the Fast Etch, and then Rust Encapsulator. It took me, with 2 coats of Rust Encapsulator with a brush, it took me like 6 hours to paint this frame by hand with the dry time and stuff in the meantime. Like that time's out the window. The time to get this to town, the money, I'm going to have $1,200 and get my stupid frame painted, which is twice what it should be now. Plus, that stuff's like $50 a gallon. Plus, the paint was like $80 a gallon. You know, this is ridiculous. So now that my rant is over, I've got to take this thing to the sandblaster tomorrow morning. So I've got to remove my leaf springs, remove the front rear springs, remove the rear springs. I'm actually going to take the trailer hitch with it this time, have them blast and paint that, and the plow frame. I might as well because they're loose off the thing now. But I got to remove the springs, set the frame on the trailer, drive it all the way 40 minutes up into town, drop it off, and now, because the time of year it is, the sandblaster's really busy, it's going to be 2 or 3 weeks till they can get this thing blasted and painted because they're super busy right now. So now I would be putting this truck together right now in the garage, but the frame's going to be gone for a couple of weeks. I've got some other stuff I can work on. I can clean up the axles, maybe get brake parts going, work on the cab. I can bring the cab in. So I guess that in the overall time of things, it doesn't really hurt me that bad, I guess. But if I was under a huge deadline, it would hurt. It would kill me. But I don't know. What a way to start the new year. That's all I got to say. So that's how I started the new year. It literally came out first thing in the morning, January 1st. Went to look at my frame and saw this and said, what in the world is going on? And it was downhill from there. So fail, fail, fail. So it's late now. I just got this thing in. I had the brown truck in here. You've probably already seen the video where I tore that apart. That was like 3 days of monkeying around to get that thing apart. So I just got that out of here. I pulled this frame in here so I could show you this video. I'm probably not even going to do anything. I'm just going to explain what's going on. So that was a big fail. I guess we'll learn from our mistakes not to do that again. I won't be using that. I won't be using that Fast Etch. I'm not going to use it unless, I don't know. I'm not going to use it again on anything this big that's this important, because this has cost me a crap ton load of money to fix this. Crap ton load of money. So I'll hook up the trailer first thing in the morning and I'll take this thing and load it up on. I might even, I don't even know if I want to pull the springs out tonight or just use it. It's a lot easier to roll it onto the trailer, obviously, with the rear end in it. All right, well, it's the next day. Rear end is out. Frame is at the blaster. It's going to be a couple of weeks. They're pretty busy doing that, but I've got plenty of things I can do here. I got to clean up the rear end. I can paint that. Probably work on the brakes. I got the front axle over here. I can work on that. I don't really feel any better from yesterday. It's going to be, he gave me a ballpark, about $1,200 to blast and prime that frame. I'm just going to have him primer it with epoxy primer, and then I'm going to rattle can it flat black on top of the epoxy primer so I can still do my fluid film trick I want to do and have it bite into the paint. And it saves me a couple $100 by just having them epoxy primer it. And the epoxy primer, you don't need to scuff it for like a month after, or a couple weeks after you prime it. It's still able to be painted on without scuffing it. So as soon as I get the frame home, I'll just shoot it black real fast, then we'll be done with it. But it'll have really, really good, like almost marine quality epoxy primer on it, which will make it way better than the Eastwood stuff, I guess. So it's not cheap. I've got more just in the frame and the paint and getting it blasted twice than I paid for both trucks, the engine, all the parts. It is what it is. Like I want to have a good frame. I couldn't have left the frame rusty under there, you know, just trying to treat it, the thing would rust. So it was the right thing to get it blasted. Screwing up the Eastwood Fast Etch, I guess, is my fault-ish, but I'm over it. I'm going to be real reluctant to use their stuff, though, from now on, I can tell you that, because this, you know, cost me $1,200 out of my pocket extra I didn't expect to have happen, and that's a lot of money to spend on something like this old beater truck, like ridiculous. So lesson learned there, I guess. Lesson learned. So like I said, I can clean these up, work on the brakes. I got engine things to do. I'm actually going to bring the cab in, start working on the donor cab. I've got to do some needle scaling of the floorboard, get some rust converter on that, convert that, sand it all down. I want to shoot the paint on it, change the back window out, and I might change the roof skin actually to the earlier style roof skin off the brown truck. I got looking at it, and it's not too bad a shape. It's got a couple of dings in it, but I really want the early roof line of the 80 and down truck just so it doesn't look like, I mean, it's a lot of work. I know most people would never notice or don't care, but I kind of want to have the correct roof line on the truck with a newer cab. So I'm going to work on that, but I got plenty of things to do. So crisis averted, I guess, time-wise, with the frame being gone for a couple weeks. That's not too much of a big deal. It just, the dollars out of my pocket for that mistake is it's a lot of money. Like I'll have $1,750 in the frame. Well, probably $1,800 if I count the cost of the paint, the other paint, the Eastwood paint, and then, you know, I have $1,800 in that just painting the frame, just blasting and painting the frame. That's crazy money, but it is what it is. So too late now. I guess I'll learn my lesson next time. Have them blast it and then prime it right away. The reason I didn't is because I had to do a bunch of fabrication work. So now on, if I build something, I'm going to do all the fabrication work in the rough state, have it blasted once and primed once, and just be done with it that way. And you get what you pay for. Tried to use the hobbyist stuff, didn't work out. So now I'm going to the professional stuff, have it done once and done twice. Done the right way. So that's it. Let me go to the outro. Still sick about it. I'm a professional. Don't try this at home.